Now we are on video number 6 about teaching unplugged, and let's see activities for ensino médio. This group of students, they're a bit older, and I think sometimes we have to think about not be so childish activities that they don't like. Yes. So also depends on your groups. But I thought activities that they needed to think more about strategies, yes, and that they do not feel embarrassed in the classroom. First one is drawing game. Yeah, so you can dictate to them as from a picture that you have. And then by the end, they have to compare your picture and their pictures. You can use it to, I don't know, for start the class, for example, to the topic, yes. Or you have vocabulary and you want to recycle this vocabulary, you can divide the classroom in groups and ask one volunteer to go to the board and draw something related to the vocabulary. The group has to guess what is it and say it aloud. Yes, if they say it correctly, they score the point for the group and so on. Or student to student. One say something, the other draw, or the other draw and they have to guess. Yeah? So using these visual elements of drawing. Dictation, sentences now. You can think about, for example, when introducing themselves. Yes. So you can think about 4 sentences about yourself. You dictate them to them, and then they have to guess if it's true or false about you. Yes. When they guess, they may talk to the next person. So, for example, if I say to them that I like driving, so they have to think, I think teacher Erica likes driving. I think it's true. What do you think? Yes, and so on. After checking, they can use the same prompt, the same sentences they have on their notebook and substitute and personalize for them. Yeah? So I like, and then what do you like? And then should be true or false. So imagine that João personalizes like, I like playing video game. And then when he say this sentence aloud, all the students have to guess if it's true or false. 10 yes or no questions is the same as trivia. So they have to guess something about me, but just with yes or no questions. Yes. So if I have a country, yeah, so they have to guess what's my country. So they have to make questions. So is it a big country? Does it snow in the winter in your country? Do people eat feijoada in your country? So anything like this. And the one who guesses correctly scores the point. Word sneak. So you give to the students words. Yes, for example, I want to work with the linkers, in addition, therefore, or any other vocabulary. So while having a conversation, yes, for example, let's talk about your weekend, okay? The student has to sneak their word in the conversation. So they have to think how they're gonna do it. And again, if they release all the words, yes, if they use all the words, they are he's the winner. That's for example. Taboo is another traditional game. Is when we have a main word. So, for example, bus, and then I have other words like transportation, public, yes, and they have to explain the word bus not using public or transportation. So again, they have to use strategies. Yes, maybe they can mime, and then it depends on you, but they have to explain to the other person without using these words. It's challenging. They like it a lot. Back to the board is very similar, but then one student can see the board, the other is back to the board. You write the word on the board, but they cannot use this word to express. So if I write bus on the board, I have to look to the board and make my colleague in front of me say this word, but I cannot say bus. Yeah, so it is a means of transportation that's very common in our city, and it's cheap. I use it to go to school and a bus. Okay, and then when the student finds out the words, they change places. It's very dynamic, and they like it a lot. Storytelling, story writing, you can use, I don't know, you can give to them an envelope with pictures, and in groups they take a picture and they start creating a story. Yes. One day I decided to go to the shopping to buy some shoes, and I liked that sandals a lot, but I didn't have enough money, so I bought those sneakers. And then the next one gets another piece of and decided and continues the story. Maybe it's a crazy story. I don't know. Maybe that is the vocabulary of the story. Or you give pictures to a group and they create a story using the words the way they want it, but they have time to plan and so on. After that, they have to say to the class, and tell to the class their story. While listening, the other students have to try to guess what were the pictures. So I think they got the an apple, a banana to include in the story. It's nice, it's creative, and they like it a lot. Another one that I like doing with them is very really communicative is to, for example, you give a piece of paper and then everybody at the same time should just write in the very top here the prompt that you start. So for example, I was sleeping on the sofa when I had a dream. In this dream, I was in, and then they have to say, in this dream, they have to write, in this dream, I was uh, in São Paulo. And then they should fold like this. And pass to the next person to them, yes, who is behind them, next to them. So they receive a new one, and then they continue, yes. So in this place, I met, and then you met a person, you met a cat, you met a famous person, I met Ronaldinho, I met, yes, and then again they fold and pass until we create all the parts of the story. And then when we have finished the story, they open up and read, okay? Sometimes there is totally nonsense stories, but sometimes there are stories that make sense and they are fun. Yes. Also, it's written, so you can make a feedback as a follow-up, as ask students to read, to see if there are spelling problems, structuring problems, and can work on that, evidence. Debates. So if you have students that are discussing topics that can be polemic, if they agree or disagree, Yes, so you can establish as you agree with this and you disagree with this, really to generate, yes, these ideas to talk. So put students face to face. Yeah, so for example, um, uh, let's imagine. So I believe that artificial intelligence is good. Yes. And the other agrees with this, and the other disagrees. So they have to come up with arguments and convince each other that their point of view is the best one. Okay. So these are some activities for ensino médio. Again, I think depends on your group, but they like activities that they can work on strategies and convincing the others, drawing, but maybe they they would go for activities that we talked about in anos finais, for example. Yes. Um, that's it. See you our next video. That will be the conclusion of our video lesson. Bye bye.